Across America, Good News Edition. My name is Chip Brewster. I'm a national digital host with Nexstar Media, and I get to host the show almost every single week. Though for the regular viewers, you'll actually miss me the next 2 weeks due to some military training. But Pilar is going to be filling in. Pilar and Basil tag team together, so don't worry, the show's not going anywhere while I am away. On this particular episode, though, we have got a lot of great stuff to talk about, some great stories to show you, including Dolly Parton back in the news and a business that you can actually visit. A couple renews their vows at a unique location. The World Cup's going on. The U.S. is playing even more of a role than you realize. A woman is walking across the country. We check in with her. We'll step back in time to the days our country was founded, a part of our 250th birthday celebration, and you hopefully saw the dog there in that last video, a story about seniors of both the four-legged and two-legged variety. That one's at the very end of the show, so stick around for that. Before we get to those stories, though, we are going to start with one from our station in New York City, WPIX, and it's all about a young entrepreneur who has a passion for crazy socks.
You see that on your porch and you're like, wow, I got my socks from John.
Yes, Dad.
John is a natural entrepreneur. He came and said, Dad, we should sell crazy socks. When you get this, you don't just get socks. You get a dose of happiness, right?
Yes.
You love that.
I love it.
Why socks?
Socks will always let me be me. And when it warms the socks on, that makes me feel so inspiration.
It started with 42 orders making home deliveries. Today, we've shipped more than 500,000 orders to 94 countries. What's our mission?
Spread happiness.
And what do you say to keep the happiness?
All I matter today is gratitude and do for others.
Gratitude and do for others. Who could have imagined this? Two of us, we're a couple knuckleheads selling socks.
Right.
But it means so much to other people. What do I say to you every morning? It's going to be a great day, right?
It's going to be the best day ever.
And here we are. Look at all the stuff happening. We moved in here in beginning of May, and we plan to open a store in the fall. And you like meeting the customers,
I love it.
But the moment we moved in, people just started walking in.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, I'm John.
It also gives us more opportunity to interact with the community.
Guys, welcome. Hi, thank you.
At the end of the day, we're not really a sock store. The socks become the physical manifestation of the story and the mission. It's so important to show what people with differing abilities can do. John, we got an order going to California.
Yes, Dad.
Very cool.
I love California.
You're going to pack it up?
Yeah.
And it's important for people with differing abilities to see people like themselves working and owning a business.
1 and 2.
We've already created 22 jobs for people with differing abilities, and that's the best thing we get to do. Listen, I admire him so much because of what he's done, but I'm so proud.
I should have prepped you that one was going to get you in the feels right off the bat. I've already watched that story, and now even the second time going through it, whew, a little bit of vapors, but so proud. And I've got a lot of pride for John and his dad and that company and spreading smiles. Socks are just the method of delivery. So, hey, if you need some crazy socks and maybe a smile, John's Crazy Socks, based in New York City. Okay, next story. This is about another parent-child duo, and they took something that they just are passionate about and decided to try and also spread that out into the world. And it comes to us from our station WROC in Rochester, New York.
Wallace created the game Kittens in Space. They didn't think much of it, but now it's on store shelves, including right here at Millennium Games.
It's one of those things we've been talking about for a year to get to this point, and so to see it on the shelf, to see it being played is actually ecstatic. It's one of those pinch me moments.
It was really cool seeing someone actually buy the game because we were here and I saw someone pick it up, which was really cool. Still kind of in shock. Don't really believe it.
And Millennium Games in Henrietta was so excited that they scooped the game right up.
One of the things that we really value here is locally designed games. And so both designers are part of our local communities. And so it's really fun to see games that come out of the ecosphere around us. Like, not that we were directly involved, but there's a piece of us that was like, we created a culture of gaming, and the designers felt welcome to just be part of this community, and we just love that.
Jeff was always into gaming, and when he had kids, he wanted to keep that tradition alive. The Wallaces entered a game design competition in 2024, which they won. They then went on to put the game on Kickstarter. Over 1,400 backers pledged more than $61,000 to help bring the project to life.
Dead Alive Games, the publisher, took it from that point, and then we converted it into finalized what the product would be, and then they sent that to the factories to actually get that produced. But in between that, it's like finalizing the rules, laying out the rules, which isn't necessarily on us, but we were involved, so we're happy to be collaborative. But then you also get all the hiccups that come involved.
Kittens in Space is for 1 to 6 players, and Jeff says it takes around 15 minutes for a round. The idea is that the year is 2199 and the moon is overrun with stray kittens. You'll have to race your opponents to rescue and rehome the Astro Cats. The Play Something New event where you can learn how to play Kittens in Space is happening tonight. Reporting in Henrietta, Oran, Spitzer, News 8.
Sorry to say that you have missed that particular event that she talked about at the end there, but you can still get that game and a pair of socks right delivered to your door, so you can have some smiles both on your feet and in front of you on the table. And I do have to comment that this past week, it did include Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to those two dads and all the other dads out there. Another story for you, this one coming to us from our station WKRN in Nashville, Tennessee. And for all the Dolly Parton fans out there, you missed your chance to see her in person as a surprise visit, but the place that she helped to open is now there and waiting for you.
From a cup of ambition, Dolly's BBQ, live entertainment, all things Dolly inspired can be found here at Dolly's Tennessee and Travel Stop off I-65 in Cornersville.
Cool Dolly merch. We have our outdoor patio where you can sit with your family and take a load off the road. We have we have ice cream. We have the Cup of Ambition coffee.
And this is no ordinary travel stop. It's a full destination inspired by Dolly herself. And who knows, maybe even Dolly will make a pit stop.
How's everybody doing today out in that hot, boiling sun?
Bringing the sun and the heat.
I've spent my whole life traveling on the road. So anyway, I wanted to welcome all of you.
Fans traveling all across the country to see her.
8 hours from Charlotte, North Carolina. Not even thinking she was going to be here, hoping she would be, and then found out last night that she was going to be.
So it was a huge surprise for fans when she made a last-minute appearance for the official ribbon cutting.
I have been a fan since the womb, as I like to say. My mom was a big fan, and so I have loved her since I took my first breath.
So when mapping out your next road trip this summer, you may want to budget yourself a little extra time if you're traveling on I-65 South.
It will be worth budgeting extra time to spend time here. I can assure you. Your kids will love it. Your family will love it.
Come on in. You're welcome here. Just make yourself at home.
In Cornersville, KENDALL ASHMAN, News 2.
And there's something about Dolly Parton. I read one time that they did a study of her fans, and they found that it was a true cross-section of America, if not the world, that there were differing viewpoints, and basically it didn't matter who you were. You could appreciate Dolly Parton. So she truly is bringing people together. And now you got a travel stop to include in your Dolly Parton experience as you venture out into the world. Okay, we've got to take a quick break, but on the other side, we'll keep the positive, interesting stories going, including a note about World Cup and the U.S. involvement, meet that woman walking from Florida to the northwest coast, and the story I'm possibly most excited about, purely because of the writing, involving a couple renewing their vows. I'll see you on the other side of this break. You got the list of stories that we're about to run through, so I will jump right into it. First one coming to us from our station KOIN in Portland, Oregon, to talk about the World Cup happening in the U.S., and we're going to learn a little bit about a product that Oregon exports. I learned about this, had no idea how big of a deal it was that it comes out of Oregon and gets put into places like the fields that the World Cup games are being played on.
I'm Joey VACCA in the Willamette Valley with the story of how Oregon is playing a much bigger role in this year's FIFA World Cup than people realize. Grass seed is actually one of Oregon's top agricultural products, accounting for more than $600 million a year to the state's economy, the Oregon Seed Council tells me. And they say that Oregon's product is so good, it's actually supplied several World Cups before, including this one. And this World Cup in North America could open a door to a new market for Oregon growers.
We've confirmed at least 7 stadiums that Oregon grass seed is on, but I would venture to guess that it's probably all of them, or at least the majority.
One of the world's biggest sporting events, put on in large part thanks to Oregon grass seed. The Oregon Seed Council says conversations to supply the stadiums with Oregon product take more than a year leading up to the event, and it's a group effort between seed growers and sod farmers.
They would have a conversation about, we need to create a sod mix for this environment, for this climate. Those sod farmers work really closely with the superintendents of the facility to try to figure out what they need and how to best provide it. And then we would just simply recommend varieties or species that we think would work best for them.
Hankins tells me Oregon growers supplied anywhere from 55,000 to 300,000 pounds of seed to make the fields for this tournament. She says it's an exciting opportunity for the world to see what growers in Oregon can do.
We've always said that Oregon is the grass seed capital of the world. Having all of those people come together to create this quality product that isn't found elsewhere in the world, I think is a huge source of pride for our industry.
Hankins says it's also eye-opening for sports fans and players who were told their stadiums had to use artificial turf because they lacked the resources to maintain grass.
Now all of a sudden they did it for soccer, so now that infrastructure is already there. So they had to add drainage, they had to add watering, they had to add lights, all the things that makes grass grow. So now that those are available to them, we're really hopeful that they will stay natural turf rather than to go back to the artificial.
Hankins says the future already looks promising after rumblings that some NFL teams may want to switch their fields away from artificial turf. And she says natural grass benefits the players with fewer injury concerns and cooler temperatures. And she says since Oregon grass seed was used to create the fields, Oregon could continue to supply them for years to come. Reporting in Hubbard, I'm Joey VACCA.
Grass seed, major export of Oregon. Who knew? Who knew? And where it's being used? Very cool, very local story out of our station up there. Next story. This is kind of a more of a national story, but it's definitely the local station doing the work and the check-in. It's about a woman walking from Daytona Beach, Florida to Seaside, Oregon, a total travel journey, length of journey, 3,000 miles. And our station in Topeka, Kansas, KSNT, had checked in with her as she went through their area. I don't know proportionally, like percentage-wise where that is. I would guess about halfway, but nonetheless, let's meet this impressive individual.
On March 1st, Rinley took off from Daytona Beach, Florida. Now, nearly 1,500 miles later, her journey has carried her through Topeka onto Highway 24. Lee says the idea started years ago after watching someone complete a similar cross-country walk online. But between joining the military and life after service, she kept pushing it off. Until finally, she decided it was time to go.
It was kind of just a bucket list item. I saw someone do it when I was about 16. They were called the Golden Road, and I watched their entire YouTube series, and I decided it was something I want to do. And then I joined the military, so I pushed it off. And then when I got out, I bought a van, so I pushed it off again. And I decided, I was like, I need to do it now before I get too old, and decided it's too crazy.
As she walks, Lee is also raising money for Back on My Feet, a nonprofit that supports people experiencing homelessness and addiction through fitness, community, and routine.
But along the way, I did decide to pick up a nonprofit because I didn't like the idea of people giving me money online. I don't want to benefit from this. If people are going to pay, I want it to go to something that matters. So I picked up Back on My Feet. They work with homeless people and recovering addicts. And it involves like physical exercise, kind of getting in a routine, because you can give someone a job, but if they don't have a routine, they don't know how to they don't have to wake up on time, they're not going to be able to keep the job. So that's kind of what Back on My Feet focuses on.
Lee also shares her journey online. But she says the most meaningful part of the experience has been the real-world connections she's made along the way.
I feel like if you want to meet good people, go out and talk to them face-to-face, because people can say anything behind a screen.
That idea followed her into Topeka. After arriving in the capital city, Lee says a local woman stepped in to help, helping her with a replacement phone and a new pair of shoes before she continued west.
I actually had a lady on Facebook offer to help me. I needed to get new shoes and I needed a new phone because my phone had broke. So she took me around.
She says the experience has changed the way she sees the country and the people in it.
I've traveled a lot throughout the United States, but never on foot. So seeing things at 3 miles an hour, it's like completely different, and talking to everybody, everyone's got their own story.
Lee left Topeka Monday and has now started the nearly 60-mile walk to Manhattan, continuing her journey west towards Oregon, one step at a time. Working for you in Topeka, Lexi Urban and Tim Shefflin, 27 News.
Hey, I was really close because I said in the story, just under 1,500 miles. I said 3,000. There you go, her halfway point. By the way, if you're looking for more information on any of the stories that I share on Across America, part of the reason I tell you what station it came from is you can always go to that station's website for more information. So if you're looking for more information on Ryn Lee, you can obviously check out KSNT or simply Googling Ryn Lee at this point. Let's just be honest. From Florida halfway across the country, there's some stuff out there. Next story. This one coming to us from KTVX in Salt Lake City, Utah. It is about a couple renewing their vows after 60 years of marriage. And that in and of itself is impressive. However, it is not the reason that I selected this story for this week's program. It's more about the location and the writing. Lots of play on word writing about to come your way.
It was the most beautiful thing.
This West Valley Taco Bell is serving up love on this Saturday. The love of 81-year-olds Mickey and Joanne Muhlstein. 60 years of marriage, spending every day of the last 12 right here in their booth.
We love our food. We love our brand. But to have customers so loyal to come here every day and enjoy the food, enjoy the company, it just, I don't know how to put it in words.
Renewing their vows.
It's been the greatest gift of my life, and I will love you for every day that God blessedly grants us together.
I promise you that no matter what happens, I will never let go in our aging years. I love you.
Officiated by the district manager in the presence of family and friends and Fajita Street Chalupas.
The fact that they could have chose any other place and they decided to do it at the Taco Bell, the place that they come in every single day, I think was lovely.
Sharing a love that has lasted.
Mild, hot, on fire. Our love has been strong enough to survive every twist, and not just cinnamon.
I just wish that everyone can have that and find that in life, to have that kind of love for each other and commitment and just being there for each other through hard times and good times.
And Taco Bell with a gift so the Muhlsteins' tradition can live moss.
That every single day that you come in, you're gonna have a free meal on the house for the rest of your life.
60 years of marriage that have truly been a Baja Blast.
I think it was the Baja Blast at the end that really did it for me. I do appreciate, too, though, that as a part of their renewal vows, they were having some Taco Bell-inspired words to each other. We are going to take another quick break, last one, but when we come back, 3 more stories for you on this week's Good News Edition. We step back in history. We meet a sketch artist, so someone that started their path, their passion in art and went into a very interesting job, and the senior dogs and senior citizens story. Stick around. Welcome back. You're still thinking about Taco Bell, aren't you? I sure am. They go there every single day, every day. Wow. But 60 years of marriage. Anyway, that's that story. Let's move on to the next one. This one coming to us from WAVY in Norfolk, Virginia. We as a company, Nexstar Media, are celebrating America's 250th by doing a series of stories about investments being made across the country, about historic locations. And this one is about stepping back into that history, to experiencing what America was like at the time of the Revolutionary War. And so to bring us that location and that information, we have this story.
Walking around here is like time travel.
This is the restored capital of Virginia, which was the largest, most influential, and wealthiest of the 13 colonies. And as such, it was terribly influential at the time of the Revolutionary War. And today, this mile-long historic district looks very much the way it did in the 1770s.
Colonial Williamsburg has several hundred buildings, ranging from 250 to 300 years old. This nonprofit foundation takes care of more than 600 historic structures across the 300-acre campus. It is said to be the largest living history museum in the world, employing nearly 2,000 people, including the many interpreters.
That is the oldest building in North America used for the education of black children.
They're still actively restoring structures that were here hundreds of years ago.
First indoor meeting house for what is today First Baptist Church, one of the oldest black congregations in North America. They were on this site by about 1805. We've done the archaeology here, found the foundations of the original structure, and preparing to reproduce that building.
Teams are constantly digging all across the campus. Archaeology at Colonial Williamsburg started almost 100 years ago, a generational effort to preserve and uncover local history. These archaeologists are going through the house and shop site of Peter Scott, a 1700s cabinet maker.
We're finding evidence related to the house or shop that was here, as well as a number of really interesting artifacts. We also found evidence of a brick kiln that was built into the early 18th century kitchen.
At this main intersection, you can see the Royal Governor's Palace, the reconstruction of the old capital of colonial Virginia, and a market square with military tents. You might see an historical figure or two, wagons and horse-drawn carriages. They just opened up the 40,000 square foot Campbell Archaeology Center. Ron Hurst calls this a state-of-the-art facility, showing off how they analyze, catalog, and research archaeological finds.
A building we didn't even know the existence of until we began digging the foundations for the new archaeology center.
Visiting here is not the same as reading a textbook.
There's something very visceral and very different about being able to stand in the spaces where important historical events took place. It's much easier to learn when you can see and feel.
There you go. Your chance to step back in time in Williamsburg, Virginia. Next story, coming to us from our station, KXRM in Colorado Springs, Colorado. This is an individual feature piece. So we meet somebody doing something interesting. And you've probably seen sketches of suspects on the news, but have you ever learned about the artists behind them? We're going to meet one right now.
One person might describe large eyes in a different way than another person.
Every detail matters, from the shape of a jaw.
If they say long hair, then I might say, well, how long was it?
To the curve of a nose.
Was it thick? Was it thin? Or was it not remarkable?
Or the way someone's eyes look in a moment of fear.
The most important details are the ones that stand out to them the most.
For detectives at the Colorado Springs Police Department, those details can become critical evidence.
We have about 40% of our sketches were in cases where the person was eventually identified anyway, and the sketch resembled the suspect who was ultimately arrested.
Detective Melanie Black turns recollection into something recognizable.
It's very important that the sketches are a little vague, because if certain details that a victim's not extremely certain on are drawn too well, then it will take away from it having a likeness to the suspect.
She's trained in forensic art, using witness descriptions, creating visual images of suspects. Her skills were even used to help recover Howard the tortoise, a stolen pet in Colorado Springs last week.
They got that photo of the suspect in front of the one person who recognized him off that blurry photo, and that helped us find them and recover Howard and bring him home.
Black says everyone's memory isn't perfect, which is why she is trained to ask strategic questions to reconstruct details. The less she knows about the case, the better, and prefers to interview eyewitnesses 2 to 3 days after an incident to avoid misconceptions caused by trauma.
They talk about like what happened, get them back in that moment where they can recall just a recollection of that face.
And while we live in a world with AI, her work remains irreplaceable.
I would say that AI can certainly draw better than me and can draw faster than me. But there's a few things that I can do to create an accurate or correct, I suppose, sketch, forensic sketch.
So cool, right? Again, one of the reasons I love this show. Just kind of the unique collection of unique stories that we get to bring together into one 30-minute block every single week, which includes the final story of this week's show. Coming to us from our station, WBRE in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, senior dogs and senior citizens. Both can often be forgotten or neglected, but put the two together and you end up with some best friends for the latter part of someone's life. Check this story out.
Somewhere to relax and listen to the birds sing.
It's the perfect place to retire in, especially for four-legged seniors. That's what Patty's Wagon Tails offers.
We take in any dogs over 7 years old when an owner falls ill, passes away, and there's no family there to help them. We also are big into going to the shelters in the Northeast Pennsylvania area and taking senior dogs out of the shelters.
The nonprofit in Tunkhannock houses almost 24 senior dogs, all with varying backgrounds. Many of them were surrendered, came from unsafe homes, or their owners passed away. Here at the sanctuary, they find peace. But that's not all. Patty's Wagon Tails offers a program called Forever Fosters. They pair senior dogs with senior citizens.
Senior citizens suffer from loneliness. It's an epidemic. They sometimes are not able to adopt a dog. Why? Because of their age, and the rescues or the shelters are concerned with what's going to happen if something happens to you with the dog.
The nonprofit takes those concerns out of the equation and covers all the animals' expenses. Because of this program, both seniors find the companionship they seek later in life. Personality, living situation, and temperament guide each match. In some cases, it creates a connection that sticks.
You have an 82-year-old man on oxygen. He can't leave the house, but he wants a dog. So you look around, what dog would be perfect for him? And there was this one dog, his name's Little Man, and he's so affectionate. I said, I'm going to try this dog.
That's when something special happens.
It was the perfect match. Now he's sleeping with the man on his bed. He's so happy.
In the event a dog ever needs to return, there will always be a place for them here at the sanctuary. In Tunkhannock, Colby Hughes, 2822 News.
You've heard Forever Home. I had not yet heard Forever Foster until I saw the story, but what a great idea and such a great story to get out there into the world. That is going to do it for this week's edition of Across America Good News Edition. I'm Chip Brewster. Like I said, I'll be back in a few weeks, but until then, take care, everybody. Excited to get back to it when it's all done.